ॐ गणानां त्वा गणपतिं हवामहे कविं कवीनामुपमश्रवस्तमं ज्येष्ठराजं ब्रह्मणां ब्रह्मणस्पतान् शृण्वन्नोतिभिः सीदसादनं श्रीमहागणाधिपतये नमः। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुस्साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ Dear friends, we have completed this 10th shloka in the last class, that is Vita Raga Bhayakrodhaha Manmaya Mam Upashritaha Bahavo Jnanatapasa Puta Madbhavamagataha. Jnanatapasa Putaha, they have been purified by this tapas called Jnanam. Jnanam itself is tapas, so they have been purified. So that shloka was about the Jnanis. That shloka was about those people who are in that Jnana Nishtha, who have attained that self-purification and who have attained that Brahmatma Bhava. And in fact, Madhusudana Saraswati also points out that Jnana Tapasa Putaha Jivan Muktas Santaha. So he says, he qualifies them as Jivan Muktaha, those who are liberated, while those who have attained liberation while being in this body. So that is what is the meaning of Jivan Mukta. So the next shloka, the Avatarika also we read, in the context of all others who are not Jivan Muktas, in the context of all others who are not in that Jnana path, and in the context of those who do this Upasana of this Saguna Brahma. Saguna Brahma means the Brahman with attributes, the Brahma with attributes, because we have some desires. If you have desires, you can't go to the Nirguna Brahma. Nirguna Brahma has nothing to do with the creation itself. Nirguna Brahma has nothing to do with all these gifts and all these boons and whatnot. Nirguna Brahma is only the understanding. That is not something which you have to do upasana. Nirguna, in the case of Nirguna Brahma, it is called Jnaya Brahma. Jnaya means that which has to be known. This Saguna Brahma is something which is a Upasya Brahma, where you have to go, beseech, request, do some prayer, do some yajna, do something else, do something else. So all these things, they are in the case of a Saguna Brahma. Whenever we talk about prayer, we have to say understand that this is the case of Saguna Brahma, where you are in the position of a supplicant. You are asking a boon from the this Brahman with attributes. So of course there is a Jnani Bhakti, that is a higher level. After you become a Jnani also, out of sheer his love for that divine form, somebody like Madhusudana Saraswati, he continued to do this worship of Lord Vishnu, Lord Krishna. So something like that, there is possible. There are lot many cases where the Jnanis, they continue to do worship, that is okay. Jnani can do worship, Jnani will do some other karma, that is okay. But then those who are actually seekers, of some benefits, material benefits, they go to worship gods of different types. That is called Saguna Brahma. So those people are being talked about in this next shloka, that is 11th shloka. We read this Avatarika also. Tavatarhi ragadveshaustaha yena kyebhyashideva atmabhavam prayachasi. So the Arjuna, the context is, Arjuna is visualizing a situation where somebody may question, the God is a rather partial person. Somebody who is, he wants to give moksha to some people only and does not want to give moksha to all people. So somebody may question like that. So that is how, this question, this shloka is being told. Let us read this shloka. Ye yatha mam prapadyante tans tathaiva bhajamyaham tans tathaiva Mama Vartmanu Vartante Manushya Partha Sarvashaha. Okay, now Krishna is saying, I respond to them in whatever manner they approach me. In whatever manner they approach me, with whatever request they approach me, I respond to them in the same fashion. So there are 4 types of people who go to the Lord, or who think of the God, let us say. That is, we are going to see that in the next in the subsequent text. Artho jignasur artharthi jnani cha bharatarshabha chaturvidha bhajante mam. Krishna is going to say, there are 4 types of people who come to me. One is Artha, Artho, Jignasu, Artharthi, Jnani cha. Artha, Artha is somebody who is in some trouble, there is some immediate trouble, and then there is an immediate intervention of Lord required. So that is an Artha Bhakta. For example, if you have seen Mahabharatam, if you know the story of Mahabharata where that Draupadi was being disrobed in the court of these Kauravas. So there was nobody coming to her rescue. At that time, there was no other go, and then she prayed for Lord Krishna. And then Krishna intervenes and sees that Dushasana fellow, he does not succeed in disrobing her. So that is what we see in that episode. That is, Draupadi in that situation is an Artha Bhakta. Artha, devotee. Artha devotee. That is a devotee who is in serious trouble. There are several examples. For example, that Gajendra Moksham, if you know the story of Gajendra Moksha, that elephant which is caught by that, huge crocodile in that lake. So that is, it fights for some time and then it gives up, and then only Lord so he surrenders before the Lord. So of course that is a totally allegorical tale which we have to say, from that manner only we have to see. So there again that Gajendra is an Artha Bhakta. So that is the first type of Bhakta is somebody who is in serious trouble and immediately he recollects, he remembers God and then he seeks divine intervention. Jignasu is the second type. Jignasu is somebody who wants to know. Somebody who wants to see what is this divine nature, who wants to understand what is this divine nature. So there are Jignasus, there are several examples of Jignasus in Mahabharatam or Bhagavatam, something like that. For example, Uddhava is there. Uddhava is a very close friend of, Lord Krishna. And then in the 11th skandha of Bhagavatam, Krishna teaches this, this particular yoga, Brahma Vidya, let us say, to that gentleman, that Uddhava, who has been a very close friend of his for a long, long time. So he is that Jignasu. Artho Jignasu. Artharthi. Artharthi is somebody who wants some more material benefits. Artha plus Arthi. So he is not in great trouble. He is okay. He is like you and me. He is okay. But you and I, we want some more, material benefits. We want some more material benefits, so you want to do some yajna. You want to attain some more punyam. You want to do something else, and then you want to do so you want to attain some other benefit. So Artharthi, somebody who is not in serious immediate trouble, but then who wants more prosperity, who wants who wants to conquer some other enemy, who wants some other benefit. So anything like that. Then Jnani cha Bharatarshabha, Jnani, the fourth stage, as I was just mentioning, a Jnani can continue to do bhakti. It does not mean, we should not think that a moment, a person becomes a Jnani. Of course, he will not declare that he has become a Jnani. His behavior will show that he has become a Jnani. His behavior will show that this fellow is sama, equal to everybody. This fellow is totally, he has gone over, his ego has melted away, and then he has no ambitions. All his personal, whatever identity was there, that personal identity has dissolved. By seeing all these things, one will know whether the chap is a Jnani or not. So that is, Jnani. A Jnani can continue to do some work also. Whatever work is assigned to him, like this King Janaka is a very famous example, very frequent example we get in this thing. So many Rajarshaya, we have heard in the beginning of this Adhyaya, Imam Vivasvate, Evam Parampara Praptam, Imam Rajarshayo Viduhu. All these Rajarshaya, all these saintly kings, all these people, they were aware of this yoga. So all these saintly kings, they were also devotees. All these saintly kings, they were Jnanis, and at the same time they were also devotees. So like that, Jnani is the fourth type of Bhakta. So all these people, they approach.
So Jignasu is...
Jnatum Ichcha Jignasa.
Mumukshu and Jignasu.
Both one and the same. Mumukshu, Mokshe Ichcha, Mumuksha. Mokshe Ichcha, Mumuksha. That is called Sananta Pratyaya, Sanantam. Mokshe Ichcha. That is desire in liberation. Jignasu Jnatum Ichcha. Jnanat Moksha. Jnana is giving you moksham. So there is no difference. Jnana and moksha. Moksha, for moksha, there is no other way. Prayer will not help. Any other yajna will not help. No other, bribing, samadhana, bheda, they don't help. Only Understanding only, not even danda, samadhana, bheda, danda, all these things do not help. Only this understanding. That is called Jnaya Brahma, as I said. Jnaya is something but which has to be known, which has to be understood. Then Upasya Brahma is different from Jnaya Brahma. Upasya Brahma is the God you worship for some material benefit. And we are now talking of in the context of a Saguna Brahma, or otherwise called an Upasya Brahma, who is being talked about in this shloka. So here Lord Krishna says, Krishna at one level he is talking say from the level of Supreme Brahman. At another level he is also talking at the level of an empirical God, an Upasya Brahma, a Saguna Brahma. That is, in English we say empirical God. So here he is talking from the point of view of an empirical God and says, Ye yatha mam prapadyante. So people who come to me, in whatever manner people come, in whatever manner people come to me. Prapadyante means those who surrender before me, those who beseech me. Prapatti is the word. Bhakti and prapatti, these two words which are there in usually we come across. Bhakti is basically devotion. Prapatti is total surrender. Prapat. Pat means to fall. Patati. So prapatti is just falling in front of someone, which means a surrender, a sense of surrender. So prapatti, from that word only we see prapadyante. Those who come to me, those who surrender before me. Arjuna told in the beginning, Shishyasteham Shadhimam Tvam Prapannam. He said Prapannam. Prapannam is one who has done that prapatti. He is a Prapanna. Mam Prapannam. He calls himself a Prapanna. That is, he has done that prapatti. He has fallen in front of Krishna. That means not literally fallen in front of. The word actually means that, but it means surrender. My intellect is no longer helping me. You please tell me what I have to do. That is what he said. Shishyaha teham shadhimam. You order me, you teach me, you command me. That is what he said. Shadhi, you command. That is what he said. So, ye yatha mam prapadyante. In whatever manner people beseech me, people come to me, tan tathaiva bhajamyaham. Tan, those people, tathaiva, in the same manner, in the same fashion, aham bhajami. I respond to them, I reply to them, I bless them, let us say. Bhajami does not literally mean bless. Bhaja means basically to respond. Bhajate. Bhaja is one word which gives several meanings. If it is in the case of a devotee who is doing some bhaja, from the word bhaja only this another word bhakti comes. Bhaja is the root. Bhakti comes from the same thing. So bhakti is derived from that root. So in different contexts you see you have to use take a different sense. Tan bhajami means Lord Krishna is not doing worship of this fellow. It does not mean that tan tathaiva bhajamyaham. When Krishna says aham bhajami, it does not mean that I am worshipping in the same manner. I am responding, I am blessing them in the same manner. Then mama vartma anuvartante manushyaha partha sarvashaha. Hey partha, Manushyaha sarvashaha, Manushyaha, all the human beings, sarvashaha, in all manners, wherever they are, in whatever corner of the globe they are, in whatever corner of the universe they are, mama vartma anuvartante, they are only following me. They are only following me means not in the sense of Lord Krishna. He is saying all people are not following Krishna. In whatever God form you worship, that is a God form. It may be a Nirakara or a Sakara, but it is a Saguna. It is a Saguna Brahma, a Brahman with attributes. It may be having a shape, it may not be having a shape, but it is a Brahman with some attributes. It is a Brahman which punishes bad and then rewards the good. It is a Brahma which is there which has some design to establish some order in society. It is the Brahma with that empirical God which is going to give some dharma, some social order and whatnot. So it is at that level he is talking. Mama vartma anuvartante manushyaha partha sarvashaha. So that is the literal, that is the overall meaning of this shloka. Words are also very simple. Ye, that is those who, yatha, in what manner, mam prapadyante, beseech me. Mam means me, prapadyante means they beseech, they surrender, they request me. Tan, those people, tathaiva, in the same manner, aham bhajami. Bhajamyaham is bhajami plus aham. Aham bhajami means I respond to them, I bless them, I answer them. Then mama vartma. Vartma is path, my way. my way, anuvartante manushyaha. Anuvartante means they are only in whatever manner you worship. All worships in whatever form you want to do, they go to one deity, they go to one God. In fact, this is the thing which is there in the, say, psyche of every Hindu, let us say. This idea is there in the mind of every Hindu right from the beginning, let us say some 5,000 years ago when Lord Krishna said. So that is why we see in our society a very great sense of tolerance. Of course, recently we find some intolerance. Even yesterday there was some sign of intolerance, you must have seen. There was some intolerance. The TTD wanted to say allowed some Swiss company to put the image of Lord Venkateshwara in a Swiss watch. Some people, some of these chaps, they objected. How can you put Lord Venkateshwara in a Swiss watch? What is wrong? What is wrong? Why should we object to that? When you put Venkateshwara in a watch, why should in a Swiss watch? Why should it be objected to? If they put on some undergarments, you have to object. Not when you put on a Swiss watch. So for everything, you can't object. You can't take it as an offense. If you read Gita, you will get over all this petty-mindedness. All this petty-mindedness, or rather signs of intolerance which we find among some of our Hindu activists, is because of ignorance. That is because they never read Gita, they never read Upanishads. If only you read Gita, you will have the courage to tell the other fellow, yes, we are, they say, certainly we are on a wise footing. Don't think that we are all fools. That is what, Vivekananda, if you read Vivekananda, his speech in Chicago or some other place, his speeches in America, if you go through those speeches, he did not say anything other than what is there in Gita and Upanishads. He just said what is there in Gita and Upanishads. This is our concept of Dharma. This is our concept of divinity. We don't say that what I say only is correct. Other religions may say what I say is correct, what my particular book says is correct, all other things are false, all other people are false gods, they are all forms of Satan. That is what other people say. We never say that. So this is what he proudly proclaimed. We proudly say that in whatever manner you worship, in whatever form you worship. In fact, we are going to see this in some other shlokas also subsequently. Particularly in the 7th chapter we are going to see. Yo yo yam yam tanum bhaktah shraddhaya architum ichhati. So that's what he is going to say. That shloka number I don't remember. Yo yo yam yam tanum bhaktah shraddhaya architum ichhati. So in whatever manner you want to see. So all things, all prayers are answered by only one divine being. Only one divine being. So that is the thing we have to see here. So let us see this bhashyam. Ye yatha येन प्रकारेण येन प्रयोजनेन यत् फलार्थितया मां प्रपद्यन्ते तांस्तथैव तत्फलदानेन भजामि अनुगृह्णामि अहम् इत्येतत्. Okay, ye yatha, that is in what, yena prakarena, in whatever manner, yena prayojanena, with whatever objective in mind, with whatever request in mind. So everybody goes to Venkateshwara with some request. There is a huge rock there. On that rock you are supposed to write your desires. Have you seen that rock? There is a big stone. There is a big stone there, a flat stone, on which you are supposed to write your request. So the belief is that your request is answered. So that is it. Yat yena prayojanena yat phalarthitaya. With whatever phalam, with whatever result you are requesting. Arthitaya means you are actually doing some arthana. Prarthana, what is prarthana? Pra plus arthana. Pra plus artha. Artha means desire. Pra plus arthana, pra plus arthana, prarthana. So yat phalarthitaya, with whatever say desire or with whatever say fruit of action which you are having in mind. Mam prapadyante, those who come to me, tan, those people, tathaiva, in the same manner, that is, tat phaladanena, I give to them whatever they request, whatever they pray from me. Then tan bhajami anugruhnami. Anugruhnami means I bless them, I respond to them. It aham ityetat. Tesham moksham prati anarthitvat. So that Arjuna's doubt is answered here. Arjuna was having a doubt. somebody may accuse that God is partial, he is giving moksha to some people only. So he is saying, Tesham moksham prati anarthitvat. They have not requested for moksham. they are not having moksha in mind. They are having some other phalam in mind. They are having some other material benefit in mind. So they are not bothered about moksha. Moksham prati anarthitvat. Their arthitvam is not there in moksham. Anarthitvam is there. Anarthitvam means they have not requested for moksha. Then nahi ekasya mumukshutvam फलार्थित्वं च युगपत् संभवति अतः ये फलार्थिनः तान् फलप्रदानेन ये यथोक्तकारिणः तु अफलार्थिनः मुमुक्षवश्च तान् ज्ञानप्रदानेन ये ज्ञानिनः सन्यासिनः मुमुक्षवश्च तान् मोक्षप्रदानेन तथा आर्तान् आर्तिहरणेन इत्येवं यथा प्रपद्यन्ते ये तांस्तथैव भजामि इत्यर्थः. ओके. अतः न हि एकस्य मुमुक्षुत्वं फलार्थित्वं च युगपत् संभवति. एकस्य, for one person, mumukshutvam and phalarthitvam, they will not be coexisting in one man at the same time. Mumukshutvam is mumuksha, having mumuksha is that mumukshutvam. Then phalarthi, being a phalarthi is phalarthitvam, that is asking for some fruit, asking for some boon, asking for some material benefit. Mumukshutvam on one side and phalarthitvam on one side, they are totally different. A mumukshu will not be a phalarthi. Mumukshu is one man who has already done some little bit of Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasana. He knows what is the nature of, say, the truth, what is the nature of supreme reality, and then he wants to experience it. He wants to have an aparoksha jnana. So he is at that level. It is not as though he is totally a fool. He is totally a fool asking for moksha. Then it does not make any sense. An ordinary man who does not go through this Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana, who simply wants moksha, he cannot. Because moksha means it is understanding. You cannot straight away request for a, say, MA degree in mathematics. You have to understand mathematics and then do it and only then get a degree. So moksha is something like that. You have to do your own math, you have to understand it, you have to attain it. Not say this bhakti. You can bhakti is something like you request, you surrender, you beseech, you go, beg, and then get a benefit. So this is a different cup of tea, that is a different cup of tea. So there you have to slog, you have to understand, and then you have to attain. But here it is a different way of slogging. You have to do some service. So this is something like a bribing way. So it is like that. So nahi ekasya mumukshutvam phalarthitvam cha yugapat sambhavati. Yugapat means simultaneously. Yugapat in one man simultaneously does not happen. Then ataha, therefore, ye phalarthinaha tan phaladanena, and those who are phalarthis. Phalarthi means one who is asking for a fruit. Ye phalarthinaha means those who are asking for some fruit. Phaladanena, I give them some result. Then ye yathoktakarinaha tu aphalarthinaha mumukshavaśya. Yathoktakarinaha means those who follow what is there in dharma, those who follow yatha uktam, that is whatever is there prescribed in the scripture, they follow. That means we have to understand that they are only doing some nishkama karma, those people who are there in that say path of nishkama karma. And then aphalarthinaha, those who do not desire any fruit of action. So which means nishkama karma is very clearly mentioned here. Aphalarthinaha mumukshavaścha, those who are mumukshavaha. Mumukshu is singular, mumukshavaha is plural. Mumukshavaha, that is those who are desirous of moksha. Those people, tan jnana pradanena. Those people, I give them jnanam. So it is not as though Lord is giving jnanam. It is not a question of giving and taking. Only figuratively he is saying like that, but then literally we have to understand that jnanam is something which you have to understand. You have to yourself go through that drill and understand. Jnana pradanena ye jnaninaha sanyasinaha mumukshavaśya. Those who are jnanis, those who are sannyasis, sannyasinaha, we know sannyasam. and then mumutshavaśya, those who are in that path of mumuksha, then tan moksha pradhanena. So I give them moksham. Moksham means deliverance from all types of bondages. Moksham does not mean anything. Moksha is not some place which is above Swarga. We should not think that heaven is one place and then above heaven. So this concept of distance, so from this earth, keeping earth as center, maybe so many kilometers away, there is what is called some heaven. Then some beyond it, a few kilometers away or many more kilometers away, there is a place called moksham. We should not think like that. Moksha, we know that it is Jivan Mukta. Moksha is here and now. A person who is mentally free, who is liberated from all bonds, he is a mumukshu. Tan moksha pradhanena. So, in fact, it also shows that some little bit of divine grace is also required in attaining moksha. It is not as though you technically, totally insulate yourself. You have nothing to do with God or anything. You just read Shravana Manana Nidhyasanam and then you go to, say, some Swamiji, sit there in a Swamiji, you never bother about anything. It's not like that. This intervention of deity is also there in moksha pradhana. Moksha pradhana is, it becomes easy if you are in that path. If you are in that path of upasana. In fact, we have seen this in Ishavasya Upanishad also. That Upanishad also, there is a combination of these things. Some sort of helping hand will be there. And then at the same time, the Jnani has to slog through. Jnani has to, because it is a Jnaya Brahma. Jnani has to slog through, he has to do that understanding himself. The Lord is not going to suddenly put Jnanam in you. Tan moksha pradhanena, tatha likewise, artan arti haranena. Artan, those people who are in distress, arti haranena, by removing the distress. Arti is the distress. Haranam is to remove. Hari, the meaning of Hari is what? One who removes. One who removes all your sins is Hari. The meaning of Hara also is same. Hara, Hari, Hara. Hari means Vishnu. Hara is Shiva. The meaning of both Hari and Hara is same. Harati iti Harihi. Harati iti Haraha. The meaning is same. Both is same. Then Harati iti Harihi. Harati iti Haraha. Then Haranam. Haranam is removal. So removal of all sins. So removal of all say bad things, let us say. So that is the meaning of Hari. Arti haranena. So he removes all distress. Then ityevam, in this manner, yatha prapadyante ye tans tathaiva bhajami. Those people, in whatever manner they come, I respond to them in the same manner. Then na puna ragadvesha nimittam moha nimittam va kanchit bhajami sarvathapi sarvavasthasya mama ishwarasya vartma margam anuvartante manushyaha. So he says, in different ways, in whatever way you worship, and in all forms, sarva avastha. Avastha is form. In whatever form you worship, mama ishwarasya vartma. That mama, my ishwarasya, that is one supreme Lord. In whatever form you visualize, in whatever form or formless, whatever it is a Saguna Brahma. When you are going and asking for some request, you are only at the level of Saguna Brahma. Only after you cross that level, then only you go to Nirguna Brahma. Only so long as you are saying, yes, I have this identity and then I want this request, I want this, you are at the level of Saguna Brahma only. Only when you go beyond that, when you lose your identity, then only you are at the level of Nirguna Brahma. So here, Sarvathapi, that is in all ways, in different ways, let us say, Sarva avasthasya mama ishwarasya vartma. Sarva avastha means in all forms, mama ishwarasya vartma margam anuvartante manushyaha. Manushyaha, all human beings anywhere in the world, they follow my path only. Mama vartma. Vartma, as I said, is path. In fact, Madhusudana Saraswati has given a more detailed line here. I will just read what he says. Mama sarvatmanaha vasudevasya vartma bhajanamargam karma jnanarshanam anuvartante sarva prakaraihi indradinapi anuvartamanoha manushyaha iti. So he says, sarva prakaraihi indradinapi anuvartamana manushyaha iti karmadhikarena indram mitram varunam agnimahuhu iti. So in whatever form you worship, Indra, Mitram means sun. Indra, we know that so-called say king of various gods, all small gods. So he is a king. Then Mitra is Surya. Then Varuna is the god of rain. Then Agni we know, god of fire. So in whatever form, you not only these forms, but in any other form you worship. Sarva prakaraihi indradin, sarva prakaraihi, in whatever manner you want to worship. So it goes to only one deity, and then the only one deity is going to give you say whatever say boon you are asking. Then सर्वथापि सर्वावस्थस्य मम ईश्वरस्य वर्त्म मार्गम् अनुवर्तन्ते मनुष्याः. नेक्स्ट लाइन, यत् फलार्थितया यस्मिन् कर्मण्यधिकृताः ये प्रयतन्ते ते मनुष्याः उच्यन्ते. So मनुष्याः पार्थ सर्वशः, मनुष्याः, he is explaining the meaning of मनुष्याः, human beings. Who are these human beings? यत्फलार्थितया यस्मिन् कर्मणि अधिकृताः ये प्रयतन्ते. Those people who are यस्मिन् कर्मणि अधिकृताः, those who are adhikari, those who are having an adhikara for one thing. For example, somebody is having an adhikara to do Rajasuya Yagam. A king alone is supposed to do this Rajasuya. Rajasuya is, that is a particular yaga, it is a particular yajna only which a king is supposed to do. That is basically to give him strength to conquer his enemies. That is Rajasuya Yagam is basically to establish his supremacy over other kings. That is that Rajasuya Yagam. Some other Yagam may be there only for the sake of Jnanam and all them. Not Jnanam, something else. Only one person is supposed to do. Some other person is supposed to do. So like that. Then yasmin karmani adhikrutaha yat phalarthitaya, with whatever objective in mind, with whatever request in mind, ye prayatante, those who prayatante means prayatnam kurvanti, that is those who make effort. Prayatante means those who make effort. Te manushyaha uchante, all those who make effort, and then all those who actually who are entitled to do something, who are having that adhikara. You understand the word adhikara? So adhikara, actually somebody is having adhikara to do, that example is not readily, that for example Kshatriya is entitled to do Rajasuya Yaga, a Brahmana is entitled to do some other yaga, Agnishtoma or something like that, somebody else is not supposed to do. So like that. So with that, with whatever desire they come, they are manushyaha. He partha sarvashaha sarva prakaraihi. So that is sarva prakaraihi means in whatever manner. Then next line, yadi tava ishvarasya ragadi dosha abhavat sarva pranishu अनुजिघृक्षायां तुल्यायां सर्वफल प्रदान समर्थे च त्वयि सति वासुदेवः सर्वमिति ज्ञानेनैव मुमुक्षवः सन्तः कस्मात् त्वामेव सर्वे न प्रतिपद्यन्ते इति शृणु तत्र कारणम्. So some more anticipated Purvapasha, some anticipated question Arjuna is raising, or the commentator himself is raising. What is that? If the God is not having any sort of partiality, he is a person who is not having any sort of raga or dvesha, then sarva pranishu anujigrukshayam tulyayam. So his desire to bless everybody, that is equal for all. He has no favoritism against one group and he has no enmity against another group. Anujigrukshayam tulyayam. In fact, in Brahma Sutra, there is a small chapter, a topic called Vaishamya Nairghrunya Adhikaranam. Vaishamya Nairghrunya Adhikaranam. That is in, I think, second Vaishamya Nairghrunya Adhikaranam, that is in second pada, second adhyaya. Vaishamya Nairghrunya Prakaranam. Vaishamya means hatred. Nairghrunyam means lack of compassion. Ghruna, compassion. Nairghrunyam is lack of compassion. Vaishamya and Nairghrunya are not there in Brahman. So that is that Adhikaranam. Every Adhikarana, I told you, in Brahma Sutra, there are so many Adhikaranas. There are 555 sutras which are, there in, I think, 100 odd Adhikaranas. Exact number I don't remember. Each Adhikarana will be having 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, so like that. So there are some Adhikaranas having up to 10, sutras. There are some Adhikaranas which are having only one sutra. So like that, each Adhikarana, one particular topic is discussed. So the question, several questions relating to God, several questions relating to the ultimate reality, that is Brahman. For example, somebody may pose a question, is God having any partiality? Can God, can we call him a God? For example, suppose a God is having some Vaishamyam and Nairghrunyam. So he likes one group and does not like another group. Is it the nature of Brahman? So they says it is not the nature of Brahman. There is a chapter called Vaishamya Nairghrunya Adhikarana. So there again, the same discussion is there. So God is this, Brahman is something which is above this. So here again, with the same, we reference is to the same thing. Yadi tava Ishwarasya ragadi dosha bhavat, say you are Lord, you are the Lord, and then ragadi doshasya abhavaha. Raga, etc. Raga means attachment, liking, like for something and dislike for something else. Ragadi dosha abhavat, you don't have any such fault in you. And then sarva pranishu anujigrukszayam tulyayam. Anujigruksha means that is compassion for everybody. Compassion, anujigruksha, anugrahitum ichcha. Anugraha bhashanam, you know. Anugraha bhashanam, you know. Some Swamiji comes and then Swamiji will give anugraha bhashanam, now we say. Anugrahitum ichcha is called anujigruksha. That is a Sananta Pratyaya. Anujigruksha is desire to bless everybody. Anujigruksha. That desire to bless everybody, desire, say for compassion, say compassion for equal, compassion for everybody, that is equal. Compassion is there equally for everybody. So then, Anujigrukszayam tulyayam, sarva phala pradhana samarthecha tvayi sati. And then, you are the one who is capable of giving all, say phalams, whatever request, whatever boon you ask, you are the person who are capable of giving. Sarva phala pradhana samarthaha. You are capable of giving every boon, satisfying every request. Then, when that is the case, Vasudeva sarvamiti jnanenaiva mumutshavasantaha kasmat tvameva sarvena pratipadyante. Then the question is, why don't people go for moksha only? Why don't people go for moksha only? And why should people ask for some petty things? So that is the question here. Why are people worried about petty things? Why are they not asking for moksha? Why are they not mumutshavaha? Vasudeva sarvamiti jnanena. So Vasudeva means not Krishna. Vasudeva is Vasanti Jaganti Asminniti Vasudeva. We have to take that etymological meaning. Here, when we are referring to absolute Brahman, we should not take the literal meaning of Vasudeva's son. There are two meanings. Vasudeva means Vasudeva's son, Krishna, who is born in, not born, who is born to a king, and then who is raised in some shepherd's family, some cowherd's family. Not like that. Vasudeva, the etymological meaning, or at a philosophical level, what we have to take is Vasanti Jaganti Asmin iti Vasudevaha. That is, all the whole universe, what all is there, they all are in him. So that is the meaning. Vasanti Jaganti Asmin. So Vasudeva Sarvam, this entire thing, Brahmaiva Idam Sarvam, that is what we say. The entire whole thing is Brahman. Then idam sarvamiti mumutshavasantaha kasmat tvameva sarvena pratipadyante. Why don't all people, why don't they do prapatti before you? Why don't you surrender before you for jnanam, for mumuksha? So that is the question. Mumutshavasantaha kasmat tvameva na pratipadyante iti shrunu tatra karanam. Then okay, listen to me. Why? What is the thing? Because people are greedy, people are desirous, they disconnect from themselves from the Brahman. They create a small space for themselves and then they feel, yes, I am this is mine, this is mine. They create an identity before them. So that is the reason, that is what he is going to say. Shrunu tatra karanam kanchanta iti. Next shloka. Kanchantah karmanam siddhim. काङ्क्षन्तः कर्मणां सिद्धिं यजन्त इह देवताः क्षिप्रं हि मानुषे लोके सिद्धिर्भवति कर्मजा. So he says, people are very greedy. Human nature is that you want so many things. Human nature is that they are not desirous of moksha. People who are desirous of moksha are 1 in a million. We are going to see that manushyanam sahasreshu, and then out of those sahasreshu somebody gets. So that is 1 in a million only will get that moksha. Will get means will realize rather. 1 in thousands will realize that Brahman. But then all other people, they are they are full of desires. Karmanam siddhim kanchantaha. Kanchantaha karmanam siddhim means karmanam siddhim kanchantaha. Those who are desirous of so many karma phalas. So this shloka also is a continuation of this earlier shloka, that is ye yathamam prapadyante. This again is talking about Saguna Brahma Upasana. Is again talking about an empirical God, say granting all your boons. An empirical God granting all your boons. That is the level at which this shloka is. This kangshantaha, these are again people who are not in the jnanapath. Those who are not nishkamas, they are all people who are sakamas. Those who are having those desires still. Then karmanam siddhim, they want, and then yajanta iha devataha. Devataha means, as Madhusudana Saraswati was saying, Indra, Mitra, Varuna, any type of god. That is what he was saying. So any type of god, they may be worshipping. Yajanta iha devataha. These people are upasya devata. I said upasya Brahma. Then this is all at the level of, say, rituals. This is all at the level of yajna. This is all at the level of, your puja, all types of pujas. We can be broadly, we can say it is at the level of religion. So where you are there requesting the god for something. So yajanta iha devataha. Yajanta means yajnam kurvantaha. Yajati, yaja means to perform yajna. Yaja, the dhatu, the word dhatu, yaja means to do yajna. Yajanta iha devataha. They are doing yajnas. Yajnas means not necessarily all those people coming together and then performing all that. Doing some puja, say seeking or beseeching those gods. So that is the meaning. Kshipram hi manushe loke siddhir bhavati karmaja. In this manushe loke, karmaja siddhi kshipram bhavati. Manushe loke means in this human world. What is that human world? We know that the human being, he is okay. Human life, let us say. Human life is there where a man is having a discretion to do an action. He is having a discretion to do an action in whatever manner he wants. He has a discretion to do a thing, not to do a thing. Kartum, akartum, anyatha kartum. So he is the one who is having that, say, free will. We have heard of some determinism and also some free will. So a man is born with some vasanas, some sort of predispositions, some sort of impressions which are there in his mind. And then again, as he is raised, as he grows up, again some more vasanas are formed. Maybe some impressions from your family, maybe some impressions from your surroundings and all that. But when he comes in contact with religion, when he comes in contact with a teacher, and for some reason, so he comes across certain good things, and then he is having that free will. He is having that free will to do something. So this manusha loka, that is the level of the stage of a human being, let us say. This human being is the person, or this is the plane of action. We have also heard one word called karma bhumi. The human life is what is called karma bhumi. Some people erroneously say Bharata Desham karma bhumi. We are not referring to Bharata Desham as karma bhumi. Some people say, in this karma bhumi all these things are happening. Some of these people very wrongly say, this is a karma bhumi. Then where are the boundaries of this karma bhumi? Karma bhumi does not mean a boundary. Karma bhumi's boundaries were there till Afghanistan some centuries ago. But then now even Kashmir is likely to go. Our karma bhumi is dwindling. So karma bhumi is a philosophical concept, is something where it is not bound by some physical boundaries. So karma bhumi means the plane of action. We should not refer to India and then what about if China takes over some Arunachal Pradesh, that karma bhumi has gone. We should not think like that. So karma bhumi is, bhumi actually means plane, a level. Bhumi is actually a level in Sanskrit. So we are now in the second floor. So dvitiya bhumi. This is the second floor we are having. Bhumi means a layer, a plane. So yoga, there are saptavidha bhumayah. There are 7 levels in that say yoga. Saptavidha bhuma, 7 planes. So yoga they describe. So like that bhumi means that is a level. So you are at this karma level. Kshipram hi manushe loke. Why human being is distinguished? Because it is only in human life that you are having a chance to do an action. You are doing an action, you get some karma phala. If you do some good action, you will go to a higher plane. You will go to some swarga. If you are indulging only in wrong actions, you will go to some lower life. That is they are called karma. This is human life is called karma bhumi. Then what are all other things? They are called bhoga bhumis. You may note down karma bhumi versus bhoga bhumi. Bhoga means bhuj, to experience, to enjoy. That eating karma phala, that karma phala may be sweet or bitter. That is a bhoga bhumi where you are eating the fruit of action. Bhoga bhumi. Suppose you are doing some all good deeds, then you go to some swarga, you may dance with some ramba or something else. That is there you are eating some sweetness of the fruit of your action. Then you are all doing all some misdeeds here. Then you take some other birth, something like a dog or something like that. Then everybody will be flinging a stone on you. So all this thing is told at the level of religion, basically to keep a man in a proper shape, to keep a man in a proper order, so that human beings do good things in the society. So that is it. So Kshipram hi manushe loke siddhir bhavati karmaja means whatever karmaja siddhi, that is siddhi, that is attainment because of karma. Karmaja siddhi, because of karma. Kshipram hi bhavati. In this world, you get very quick results. So this other world we do not know. Other world there may be some delay. So you are doing some yajna and then immediately you may not get that fruit. After death only it will happen. So there is some sort of delay. But here in this world, at the human plane, you also get result in a quicker manner. There are some results which you get quickly. There are some results which you get with some delay. So that is how we have to see this. So kangshantaha means desirous of, those who are desirous of. Karmanam siddhim, that is the attainment of karma. Then yajanta iha devataha, those who are doing yajna for the sake of various deities. Then manushe loke tesham siddhihi bhavati karmaja, tesham siddhihi kshipram bhavati. That is, kshipram means quickly. Kshipram means quickly. Tesham siddhihi bhavati. Siddhi means that attainment is very quickly happening. So let us read this bhashyam. Manushya loka, okay. Kangshantaha abhipsantaha karmanam siddhim phala nishpattim prarthayantaha yajanta iha asmin loke devataha indra agnyadyaha atha yonyam devatam upaste yosa asavanyo upaste anyosa vanyohamasmiti nasa veda yatha pashuhu evam sa devanam yatha pashuhu evam sa devanam iti shrutehe. So kangshantaha abhipsantaha. Kangshantaha means those who are desirous of. Karmanam siddhim, that is phala nishpattim, thus attainment of the fruit of action. Te prarthayantaha yajantaha iha that kanchantah karmanam siddhim yajanta iha. Iha means in this world, iha asmin loke devataha indra agnyadhyah. Indra, Agni, etc., etc. You may worship any type of god with form or without form. Then he is quoting one Shruti. Shruti means one line from Upanishad. This is from Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, the first Adhyaya, 4th Brahmana, 10th mantra. 4th Brahmana, 10th mantra. It says, Yo anyam devatam upaste anyosa vanyohamasmiti nasa veda yatha pashuhu evam sadevanam. That is what that mantra says. Then it is actually really a very blunt, something like a very blunt statement which is made by the Upanishad. A very blunt, harsh statement made by the Upanishad regarding a person who is at a very, very material level. He is at a material level. He goes to God, and then he does not want any greater, any broader enlightenment. He has no idea about his own self or anything. Then anyam devatam upaste. So he feels that this devata is something which is different from me. Anya, devata is anya. Aham anyaha. Aham anyaha, devata anya. I am separate, devata is separate. Yo anyam devatam upaste. Upaste means worships. Upasana. Upaste. Asudhatu. Aste. Upaste means one who does upasana. Anyosa vanyohamasmiti. Anyaha asau. That deity is different. Anyaha aham asmi. I am different and that deity is different. Iti yo Veda. Na sa Veda. He is an ignorant person. Na sa Veda means he does not know. He does not know. Yatha pashuhu evam sa devanam. Yatha pashuhu. Pashu means, what is Pashu? Pashu is an animal. Why is it called Pashu? Pashena badhyate. Pasha means something, a rope. You take a rope and you tie it around the neck of a bull or a calf, whatever it is, a dog, whatever it is, a dog also, however much you like a dog, you also tie it. Then that is yatha pashuhu evam sa devana. That you are bound to that deva. You are bound to that deva, you are bound to do all types of things for the deva. So that is a line from this Upanishad. This person who is not bothered about say self-knowledge, a person who is not bothered about knowing oneself, he is somewhat like a pashu, a self-declared pashu who is not asking for any bigger thing, who feels a difference, who feels that he is different and the deity is different, and then he is only seeking some boons. So he is like a pashu. What do we do with a pashu? Pashu obediently serves you, and then you give him some some fodder, some dog feed. You may get the best dog feed and give to him, but then it is a dog feed. So like that, whatever bird, whatever animal is there with us, you feed with the best possible. Sometimes for cats also. For cats also there is a separate cat feed. Some people they import it and give to that cats. So like that. So all this imported feed you give to a dog or a cat, but it is a pashu. So like that, yatha pashuhu evam sa devana. You are only serving those deities. You are not trying to know yourself. So it's such a harsh word Upanishad is using for somebody who remains at that level. Upanishad does not totally condemn it. You do it, but you please come out of it at some point of time. That is what Upanishad says. Tesham hi भिन्न देवता याजिनां फलाकांक्षिणां क्षिप्रं शीघ्रं हि यस्मात् मानुषे मनुष्यलोके हि शास्त्राधिकारः. Okay, tesham, for those people. Who are those people? Bhinna devata yajinah. That is those who follow different types of gods, all types of gods, leaving that supreme self. So we are now not talking about Krishna or Vishnu or anything. We are only making a distinction between the supreme Brahman and all other Saguna Brahmas. Saguna Brahma means all other forms, all other deities with form or without form, but then those who are having that attributes. We are talking only a different of, one is attributeless Brahman and the other is Brahma with attributes. Brahma with attributes is at the level of say whatever religion or whatever, say Vaishnavas, they say Vishnu is the only God. Shaivas, they say Shiva is the only God. Somebody say Ganapati is the only God. Somebody will say Shakti is the only goddess. So like that. So anything. So here, Bhinna Devata Yajinam, those who are worshipping all these Bhinna Devatas, Phala Akankshinam, for them, they are not doing Nishkama Karma, they are desirous of the fruit of action. Then Shipram, Shighram, Shipram means fast, quick. Manuhi, Yasmat, that because Manushe Loke, Manushya Loke hi Shastradhikaraha. So Shastra, 5 minutes. Okay, Manushya Loke hi Shastradhikaraha. This say eligibility, this applicability of Shastra is there only in the Manushya Loka. Shastradhikaraha is the applicability of Shastra, the applicability of a scripture is there only in Manushya Loka. Because as we just discussed, my human being, that is the human life, is the only opportunity for doing a good action or a bad action. You do a good action, you attain a good level, you go to a better level. You continue to do some bad things, you attain some lower level. A mixture of good and bad, of course, you go for some time to say a higher plane getting a visa. Then again you go to some other stupid country where you are tortured. So like that. So it is like that. So where are we? Bhinna Devata Yajana Manushya Lokehi Shastradhikaraha. The applicability of Shastra is there only at the level of Manushya Loka, because this is what is called Karma Bhumi. The human life is Karma Bhumi and not India. Say boundaries and whatnot. We should dismiss that idea from your mind. Then Shipram hi Manushe Loke iti Visheshanat Anyeshvapi Karma Phala Siddhim Darshayati Bhagavan. Manushe Loke Varnashramadi Karmani iti Sheshaha. Visheshaha onda in your book say okay, iti Sheshaha, it's okay. Tesham Varnashramadi Adhikari Karmanam Phalasiddhi Kshipram Bhavati Karmaja Karmano Jata. So here Kshipram hi Manushe Loke Siddhir Bhavati Karmaja. What is that karma? Shankaracharya is explaining. Karma is Manushe Loke Varnashramadi Karmani iti Sheshaha. Sheshaha means that which is not mentioned in the text, but that which we have to understand. Sheshaha, your book says Visheshaha. Okay, anyway, here Shesha also it makes a better, say expression. Sheshaha means that which is not there in the text, but this is what we have to presume from the overall context. Varnashramadi Karmani, that is in this Manushya Loka only, there is a differentiation of various varnas and the differentiation of various ashramas. So because he is saying this as a sort of prelude to the next shloka, that is Chaturvarnyam Maya Srishtam Guna Karma Vibhagashaha. So where Sri Krishna is talking about the division of human beings into 4 varnas, Chaturvarnyam. So here Manushe Loke Eva Varnashramadi Karmani iti Sheshaha. He is just giving it as a prelude, because he is leading, this entire discussion is leading to that. This whole discussion is leading to the next shloka. So Manushya Loke, where we know that this Varna, Ashrama division is there. Then Tesham Varnashrama Adhikari Karmanam Phala Siddhihi. Tesham means of them. Of them means of what? Varnashrama Adhikari Karmanam. Those karmas, those actions which have been performed by people in that Varna or Ashrama. By the people who are there in a particular Varna. And in that particular Varna again there are different ashramas. So in that Varna, for that ashrama, there are certain duties which are prescribed. So those people who are doing this, those who are strictly performing all those karmas, so that is what is the meaning here. Varnashrama Adhikari Karmanam Phala Siddhihi Kshipram Bhavati. Kshipram means Shighram, fast, immediate. It becomes Karmaja Karmano Jata. Karmanaha Jataha means that which is born of karma. That is as a result of karma. As a result of karma, in this world, those who are entitled to do certain actions, depending on his varna and depending on his ashrama. So the fruit of action is quite quick. Though in other words also, so he says, Chipram hi manushe loke iti visheshanat, because there is a distinction made, there is a specific mention. Iti visheshanat means there is a specific mention about manushe loke. So when there is a specific mention, it also indicates anyeshvapi karma phala siddhim darshayati bhagavan. Anyeshvapi lokeshu, that is, even in other worlds, there is karma phala siddhi. There is no action there, but phala siddhi is there. When you are in the world of gods or anything like that, you are only enjoying. That is a bhoga bhumi, not a karma bhumi. But then bhoga is there, karma phala siddhi is there. Part of the siddhi may be here, part of the siddhi is there. This siddhi which you are going to get in this world is very quick. And that siddhi which you are going to get in some other loka is rather remote. It is rather delayed. Only that is possible only after the body falls. So that is the meaning here. Manushe loke iti visheshanad anyeshvapi lokeshu phalasiddhim darshayati. It is that phalasiddhi is there partly here and partly elsewhere. Then again, manushe loke iti varnashramadi, say what a person who is entitled to do a particular karma, he gets fruit here very fast. So this is by way of introduction to this next shloka, I think, which we wanted to complete that, but no time. So we'll conclude here. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Avashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. ఈరోజు కొంచెం